All right, Chaz Smith.
Can you hear me?
We're officially at Album Surfboards, yet we're still on Zoom. How did this happen?
Well, because we have a once in a lifetime, I'm going to say, guest opportunity this morning, David Lee Scales.
Oh, yeah? Who is the special guest?
We have someone who is as close as we could ever possibly get to the world's greatest surfer, Kelly Slater.
I mean, he has seen him in his underwear. So
He has seen him in his underwear. He has hung out with him. And as far as I know, Brandon is not blocked across all social media channels, has actually looked into the 11-time world champion's eyes and, yeah, got something from him. So
maybe blocked after today.
I mean, probably certainly blocked after today.
Give him a proper introduction.
This is Brandon Sneed. He's a writer. Obviously, he just wrote a big cover feature on Kelly Slater for Sports Illustrated, but I'm sure he's written a bunch more. Brandon, are you freelance or do you work for Sports Illustrated, or what's your story?
Yeah, freelance. And thanks for having me, man. Excited.
Well, congrats on the cover story too. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, thanks. It was cool. I was really happy with the way it all came together. First off, though, are y'all blocked across all social media channels?
Yeah. Okay, Kelly Slater is not a Chaz Smith fan.
No?
I am in the clear. I am not blocked.
What'd you do, Chaz?
Well, it's all deserved, to be honest. I call him an asshole a lot. I poke fun at him, I think, too much. David Lee, what do I do? What did I do to get Kelly's goat?
Well, let me provide context for Brandon. In the surf world, there isn't any real true journalism. Everybody's kind of the magazines traditionally have been funded by 5 brands. And so they're writing kind of glorified press releases for those brands. Everybody venerates the idols. There's no journalist digging in to tell true stories. Even when people die of drug overdose, like pro surfers die of a drug overdose or whatever, nothing honest is written about it or investigative. And so Chaz has taken that opportunity to kind of do more salacious storytelling around Kelly Slater. I would still argue it's not very journalistic in its rigor, but it is sensational. And so I think Kelly doesn't appreciate a lot of Chaz's ribbing, let's say.
Okay, interesting. So am I making a mistake here talking to you, Chaz? Because I got a good thing going with Kelly. I mean, I respect him a lot. I don't know what's going on with y'all.
You'll be safe. You'll be safe.
Very safe. Yeah, but so how did it come together? Did Sports Illustrated approach you with the idea, or did you approach them?
It was a woman named Shelby who I worked on a story about Shaun White with.
Shelby Mead.
Shelby Mead.
Love Shelby Mead.
Yeah, Shelby's amazing. So she was working with Shaun White 4 or 5 years ago, and I did a big story on him for the now defunct BR Mag at Bleacher Report. And, that went well. Spent a lot of time with Shaun and Shelby. And then earlier this year, I was working on a story about Esther Lee, who was Shaun White's physical therapist, his personal physical therapist throughout that Olympic run. And then again, for his recent final Olympics, and Esther had been working with him for years on and off. And she has also worked with tons of other very successful athletes and performers and entertainers. And she just is a beautiful person who was dealing with pancreatic cancer. And she, thought she was going to die at a certain point, and she was still doing her thing. And so I was doing a big story on her. And while I was talking with Shelby, kind of setting that up, she said, "You need to write about Kelly," and so long story short, that's just kind of how I got rolling from there. Is I went to SI, excuse me, sorry, and said, "Hey, got Kelly's folks asking if would like some access and like to spend some time with him. As he's coming up on 50, still doing his thing." We didn't know at the time, he hadn't won Pipeline yet or anything like that. It was just let's see what Kelly's doing, how he's still doing his thing, and it just kind of progressed from there. He invited me down to Cocoa Beach, spent, where, it's his hometown, spent a few days down there, and then flew to LA with him. And Kalani, spent a lot of time with Kalani, his girlfriend as well. And then just some of his other friends down there in Cocoa Beach. And then we flew to LA, spent a couple days there in the rolling sauna of a rental car that had no air conditioning and things like that. And it was just a really like, it worked out great. He was just, for whatever reason, super comfortable and open and relaxed. And, it just all went really, really well.
What about, did you know anything about surfing prior, or what was your awareness of Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, excuse me, sorry, need some water, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I knew who Kelly was. I wasn't deep in the surf world by any means. I had to do, a good bit of homework. I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for a couple of years, probably 10 years ago, and tried to pick up some surfing then. I've always loved it, but I never had a chance to actually get decent at it.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, I, played a lot of catch up, learned a lot more about his background and about the sport in general. And that was cool. Like, I really love just, just the whole, I wrote about this some in the story, just the whole concept of, I mean, when you're surfing, I mean, you're out there in the ocean, which is this volatile, completely unpredictable arena that you also have to, you're all at once almost, not competing with it exactly, but it's not always your friend, but you have to make friends with it one way or another. And I just found that so compelling. And then just talking with Kelly a lot about the ways he's gone about doing that over the last, 40 years. It was just really cool.
The piece, go ahead, Chaz.
I was going to say, Kelly is known in surfing, at least, I think outside of surf, or in the surf world space, for his mind games, for being able to stare at you with those piercing blues and trick your brain. Did you feel that Kelly was doing anything like that with you, or did you feel you were actually getting an open, honest response from him?
Yeah, like you say that, and I mean, I've watched the Momentum Generation documentary where they talk about things like that, and we talked a lot about that. I mean, in the sense of the competitive space of being out there trying to win a surfing competition. I come from traditional sports. I played soccer, basketball, and baseball through high school, played baseball through college. And I've spent, a majority of my career covering, athletes in sports like that. I've done a lot of stories on, guys in MMA, UFC. Kelly's also a big UFC, MMA fan. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it gives me pause, like you framing it like that, like trying to trick you with his piercing blues. I mean, if we're talking about in a competitive arena, I mean, what the hell else are you out there for other than to beat the guy next to you? And then if you mean on a human to human level, no. I mean, he's a thinker. He thinks things through from every angle, and he considers every angle, and we would discuss things from multiple angles like that. I never got a sense of trying to be tricked. It was more a sense of, okay, I'm saying things this way. Are you hearing it this way? We would just talk things through.
Did you get any indication about his plans for retirement? And even if he didn't outrightly, explicitly state what his plans were, what was your sense on what his plans are for his career?
Yeah, I mean, he's thinking about it. Sometimes he feels like this could be the last season. Sometimes you don't. It's the hard thing when you're a guy at that level, as good at what you do as he is, especially. I mean, how do you ever really let it go?
Yeah.
And the truth is, I mean, guys like that, they never really do. I mean, he's always going to be surfing. I talked to Tony Hawk a lot for the story too, and he said things a similar way. Is I mean, he's coming off this shattered femur at the age he's at, and that's just the way. The reality is they never really stop. It's just a matter of they are going to stop doing it in public at some point. But it's just what they do. I mean, they have just that deep love for it that can border on obsession, but I mean, it's something that's given them so much that they get so much out of, and that in turn they've given the world a lot of because of that too. I mean, there's just a lot wrapped up in walking away from it, and like I said, they never really walk away. It's just a matter of when and how and where they do it.
Well, the interesting thing was that Tom Brady tried to walk away, and Kelly, I guess, has a relationship with him that you discuss in the article.
Yeah.
And Brady missed it so much that, you know, he can play. I guess Kelly could surf outside of competition. Brady could probably play football, but it's not the same level of intensity. And that is what they miss. But as you unpack in the story, what drove Kelly from an early age was this dysfunction at his house, and surfing providing the refuge from that. And then you kind of unpack the suicide thought that he had and all of that conflict. And then that propelled him forward later in his career. So I just wonder what the conflict is at this point in his life. You know, like, he can still compete, but he's not, other than the pipe event, he's not winning events anymore. He's not really competing at the top level. And so at what point does that bruise his ego enough to just finally retire? You know, if he can't hang with the young kids, then retirement becomes a viable option, unless there's some driving factor for him.
I mean, I think looking at it from bruising his ego is a kind of strange place to look at it from. I think it's more about, is this healthy for me to keep doing? At least that's where he comes at it from. He doesn't, you know, he's done a lot of work to kind of understand and heal a lot of the things he went through as a kid. He's found a lot of, you know, grace and forgiveness for his family and for himself. And we talked about that a lot. That didn't end up so much in the story, but it's been a very real thing for him, just on a human level. He's found a lot of peace lately. And, you know, I mean, he said it's been interesting to see how that has affected his competitive drive too. But I mean, there's also just the fact that he's been doing this for 40 years. You know, I don't think there's any ego left about it. Like, he loves it, and he understands what he offers those young guys out there. There's nothing to do with his ego being bruised at this point, at least from my perspective. Is more like, I mean, he loves being out there. He loves giving what he can to it. And sure, there are those times where you want to compete well and you want to do that, but it's more about internally, like, what am I still capable of?
Yeah.
And that's more what it's about than any of that other stuff. And for him, I mean, it seemed like it's been more about that from the beginning. I mean, there's always that competitive urge to beat the next guy. And sure, you know, you feel your pride get up in a healthy way. I mean, it's shit. I mean, I'm playing, sorry, I don't know if you can cuss on here. My bad.
Yes,
but,
you can.
I mean, like, we all do it. Right. Like, I mean, I was playing pickup basketball last night,
Yeah,
35 years old, and I'm getting heated. You know, it's like, it's kind of, it's just natural. But I don't think it's ever going to be a reason that he would stop would be that. I think it's more just, what does he want his life to look like? And he's been doing this a really long time. And I think he keeps going back out there as much because he likes, you know, I mean, he understands the way that he's helped to build the sport, and he understands what he has to offer to people. Especially the younger surfers. Like, he remembers being a young guy out there looking up to people he's surfing against and feeding off of them. That's a term he used a lot, was, you know, you feed off of people around you out there in the waves. And so he just tries to give what he can to the young guys now, as much as anything.
Did spending time with Kelly in his life, did you think, oh man, what a lucky guy? Or did you think, I could never live this way? I mean, I think looking at Kelly from the outside, you know, he's got it all. He's got money. He's got a level of fame. He has, you know, homes dotted, you know, beachside homes across the globe. But also, I look at his life and it just seems crazy. It seems like you never stop. It seems like you're always moving one place to the other, and it would drive me crazy. Did you get a sense of how Kelly lives? And if it was, if you liked it or not personally?
Yeah. I mean, the way he lives, I mean, I think, I mean, he talked about that too, as part of him, you know, is looking forward to more downtime. You know, he did mention that he, you know, sometimes gets some anxiety about traveling. Not so much the flights themselves and such, but just it's an extraordinary amount of planning and managing of logistics and your homes and making sure everything's taken care of and all that. I mean, me personally, like, you know, I think it seems like a lot to manage, but it seems beautiful, you know. And like he says he has homes all over the world. He's got families all over the world, you know. Like it's very unique, and it's special. And I think it especially means a lot to him coming from, you know, he's found a lot of love, grace, and forgiveness for his family and his childhood, and he's fine. Like that's all square now. But when you're a kid, I mean, the feelings you experience and the pain you experience as a kid, you know, that's always in you a little bit. And so for him to have found people around the world that he considers family, like I thought that was one of the coolest things. But yeah, it's a lot. I mean, there was one of the night before we were gonna get on the plane to LA. I mean, they were doing like, you know, 8 loads of laundry and having to make sure this is taken care of and that's taken care of for the house, and, you know, packing up, you know, half a dozen suitcases of stuff for 2 weeks in Southern California, followed by a month in Australia. Yeah, it's a lot to manage, man. I mean, throwing like 3 surfboards in the back of my rented Corolla, you know, it's just like it's a form of chaos, but like I said, they're just used to it too, you know. So I don't know. On one hand, yeah, obviously it's a lot. On the other hand, I mean, it's just kind of a special thing. Like I thought it was, you know, it's just really, it seems to fit him really well. And I mean, he seems at home with all of it, you know?
Yeah. Final question. Is he wearing boxers, briefs, or boxer briefs?
Oh my God. I think it was, I don't know. I feel weird answering that.
You didn't get a good look?
Oh man.
You're the one that wrote about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You didn't want to talk about it.
From what I remember, it was boxer briefs. Yeah.
That's the right choice for Kelly, by the way.
It's the only. What do you wear, David? What do you wear, Brandon?
I definitely rock with the boxer briefs.
You have to. It's the modern underwear. Everything
I don't
else
understand
is just
how you can do anything other than boxer briefs, to be honest.
Agreed.
Do you think though there is I feel, because I transitioned from boxers, to boxer briefs. Is the next step briefs?
No.
Why do we have that extra room on the leg? What's that doing for us?
I think it holds everything from like the wedgie, probably.
But you don't I don't think you get a wedgie with briefs.
Well, you should do the briefs for 2 weeks and then report back.
Okay, I'm doing it. I'm in.
All right, listeners, stay tuned for that. Brandon, we'll direct everybody, obviously, to the Sports Illustrated article, but do you want to direct people to your personal social media or anything else that you've got going on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just all at Brandon Sneed on Instagram and Twitter. My website's brandonsneed.com.
Awesome. Are you working on anything else you want to promote?
I got a few things in the works right now, but I don't think it's the best time to talk about them yet. Appreciate it, though.
Fair enough, then. People will follow you on Insta and see when that comes.
Yeah, for sure. But I appreciate it, guys.
Sweet. Thanks so much, Brandon. Great piece, too.
Yeah,
thank
wonderful
you.
piece.
Thank you. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Time crunch. All right. Well, thanks to Brandon Sneed, huh?
Brandon Sneed. What a mellow guy Brandon Sneed was.
I mean, that was low energy.
Yeah, but it was like the perfect North Carolina style low energy. Like just moving through that muggy weather.
He was also very concerned
yeah.
about what he had gotten himself into.
Exactly. People should do their research, man. Brandon, you're a journalist. Do your research. Just kidding. It's fair that he would get on his heels a little bit there, but I feel like shouldn't have led with the.
We shouldn't have because he really pulled he was apprehensive. Any little jab, like, oh, ego. Well, that's a weird place to come from. The question is ego. I'm like, dude, ego drives everything.
Of course.
Kelly would never have 11 world titles without ego. What are you talking about? And as a journalist, you should know better than anything. He is the most competitive dude in the world.
And for sure that ego gets pricked by losing to people that he shouldn't lose to.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it doesn't, then he really should retire.
But I love the fact that he was there to defend Kelly.
Yep, I did too. I mean, how often? That's as close as we could get to Kelly Slater. That's why I was excited to have Brandon on the show. And also that piece really is great. It's the most, his Sports Illustrated piece, check it out, is the most insightful Kelly piece I've read in a while.
Well, I don't know. I think the Lost Tapes series might even provide more than that.
Sure. I mean, video and whatnot, definitely. But in terms of like a written profile of Kelly.
Yeah. I thought it was, when I read it, I felt like paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of it being geared towards the Sports Illustrated audience who doesn't know Kelly, and it did a phenomenal job of servicing their audience.
Great.
And then the one bit that was for you and I was
suicide?
the suicide reveal.
Which is super interesting and makes me, obviously I'm not questioning Kelly's suicidal thoughts, but you've thought about killing yourself, right?
No.
You've never once thought, damn it, if I just killed myself, everything would be a lot easier.
Never once.
You've never...
I have no problem discussing, like I would have no problem revealing it if I did.
Sure.
But I absolutely never once.
That's funny. I suppose I thought that was a natural human...
I think it is.
A natural, like that everybody has...
I don't think everybody, but I think it's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, and not in a serious, like taking steps
Right.
kind of way to do it, which I suppose that was Kelly's reveal, is that he was standing on top of the tallest building in the world, able to see the East Indian Ocean from Coolangatta.
Right.
Did you see the
meme?
Yeah, the beach grid meme was really, really, really funny. But anyway, standing on top of a tall building, thinking about it, which I suppose is not necessarily a step, but that's, I guess, something.
Okay, so that's worth discussing then, because I have been on a giant building.
Sure, and said I could jump off right now.
But it wasn't suicide related. It was like just a human vestige of your human kind of animal impulse.
Of course. I mean,
impulse to jump.
I mean,
it's bizarre.
I have that big time. It's scary.
Why do we have that?
I don't know.
Where does that come from?
I have no idea.
Who does that service biologically?
It is so weird. Like, is it just that we all want to fly or something?
Maybe. Maybe we're curious about that feeling.
Yeah.
Not about the splat.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea, but I have it fairly bad too.
It's weird.
Compulsive
right?
jumping. Yeah.
Yeah. It's super weird.
But anyway, the reveal of Kelly, I wanted more there, I suppose. And like, it would be interesting to hear. I mean, I have a great friend, Jamie Twarkowski, is deals with suicide a lot and all of that. Like, I would like a further discussion of that sort of, not necessarily as it relates to Kelly, just in general. Like, where does thinking, man, this sucks, I just want to die. Like, what is it? Brad Pitt's, is it Ocean's 11? His line, I think George Clooney asks him, are you ever suicidal? And he says, only in the morning, right. Which is like, I totally get that. You wake up, look at the day, all the stuff that, especially on a rough day, and just think, oh man, it'd be a lot easier to be dead right now. But I don't consider that suicidal ideation.
Right.
And I suppose it's all in the person's mind. Like if Kelly felt that he was seriously suicidal, Kelly would be the only person who knows, versus be easier if it was over.
I think what struck me about that reveal with Kelly was how much of a loss it would have been for the world had he followed through. And so I think about that with everybody else too, who's come to that kind of ultimate conclusion, is it's always feelings, emotions are always temporary. Full stop. And
except what if they're not? What if you're like deeply depressed and you're like low level?
Even then, I agree with you. I hear you, but even then it still goes like this.
Yeah.
So you're more depressed at sometimes and less at others. And maybe you just ride at that low portion. And then there's medication that can help you get out of that. There are solutions there. But emotions are temporary. And so when you're feeling that lowest of the low and you think that there's limited options, you won't feel that way down the road. And so to make kind of a final consequence is to subvert all the greatness that can come. And Kelly's a great example of like revolutionizing everything along the way.
After his moment.
Yeah, and it would have been such a detriment to surfing, to greater society, to all of it had he followed through. So it makes me sad to think of all the people who have.
Yep. I mean, suicide is such a great, great, great tragedy. And like, I mean, yeah.
It's great. And then the worst part about it is the surviving family.
Yeah, family.
I mean,
friends
what would that do to your mom?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's really tragic.
Don't commit suicide, people.
No.
Don't do it.
Makes me, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Super sad to think about. Well, hey, welcome back in person, in the flesh.
Feels good to be back at the Album Surfboards factory showroom.
It's pretty impressive.
Is this considered, this is not a factory showroom because they don't shape here, do they?
They did have a shaping bay out back, but I think he's doing it all in Oceanside now.
Okay.
So no longer factory showroom.
Man, he must hate his life, Matt Parker, when on Fridays, in case he has to run down to Oceanside to get something from the shop, from San Clemente to Oceanside on Fridays can be a solid hour and a half drive.
Oceanside right there is where that all backs up.
Yep.
It's freaking a nightmare, dude.
It is crazy town.
It really is.
When we went to Europe, we took a Uber up because didn't want to pay the crazy parking fees up at LAX, which is silly that it's way cheaper to Uber from San Diego to LAX than it is to park. Anyhow, took an Uber, and stinking Uber driver, genius. He is a ex-Marine, has a pass to get on into Pendleton, and so when it backs up, when he's coming south, he just drives through Pendleton.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. He says it's
so smart.
Says it's a pleasant drive. It's like driving through a nature park with tanks and whatnot off the sides. But yeah,
fantastic.
Pretty interesting.
You never do off-site parking up there?
Yeah, of course, only off-site parking, but even off-site parking is insane. And the LAX has turned into such a junk show. Like to get in and out of, even to get the buses to your off-site parking, and off-site parking is like, I don't know, $30-$40 a day, which, yeah.
Crazy.
Dumb.
Yeah, crazy. Are you walking on your ankle?
I am hobbling on it.
Is it bruised?
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Is it?
I mean, the grossness has sort of died down, but yeah, I still have like general bruising.
Can I see it?
It's pretty gross though.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's like, it was all the way up to the toes and everything was just like flooded with blood. I don't know how I burst so many blood vessels.
I have the same exact socks on right now, but in white.
Oh, nice.
How funny is that?
It's a great sock. It's like the boxer brief of socks.
It really is. I love how apprehensive he was to talk about.
He was.
It's like, dude, you opened your article with that story.
I really put him on his, I feel bad now. We could have gotten a real good interview, but I put him on his heels by saying that Kelly doesn't like me.
I know. Well, I thought he would have known that already.
You'd think.
Yeah.
You'd think that a slight bit of digging, you'd see these Beach Grit headlines about Kelly and think, well, I mean, I guess Beach Grit does a good job because they're not anti-Kelly. It's just...
Yeah, but he should have
praising Kelly.
If he was researching Kelly all that time to write an article, he would know what Beach Grit was and who you were in your role to Kelly, you would think.
You'd think.
Now, here's what we should have asked him, was about the Indian Ocean thing.
Yeah.
How did we not ask him that?
Well, because he just got it straight wrong. I was going to, but he just got it flat wrong. And then the copy editor at Sports Illustrated didn't catch it either. So it's one of those things where you wince about it and it's too late.
Did Kelly get it wrong, though, or did the writer get it wrong?
He got it wrong.
Okay.
He was like, because Kelly didn't say he was looking at the Indian Ocean, East Indian Ocean. Brandon was providing...
In Kelly's suicide story, Kelly says that he's standing in his high-rise apartment in Coolangatta, overlooking, quote,
the beautiful
East Indian Ocean.
East Indian Ocean.
And that went to print, obviously, and so that's why we're talking about it. But somebody in the Beach Grit comments made a little meme, and it was the continent of Australia with Kelly in a very tall building is what it said, looking across the country at the opposite ocean.
Very funny. I'm so glad that
he's on the edge, but he's looking across the country the other way into the ocean.
I was so happy that Brandon that slipped, because the amount of even subtle commentary on that in the comments was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like, Jimmy the Saint, I think, just right. Oh God, Kelly's good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we are at Album Surfboards. Listeners have less than 24 hours to win this exact album, Free Wing.
This might be the prettiest surfboard I've ever seen in all of my life.
Do you mind getting out of your chair and inviting Matt Parker in from behind you? And Matt can get on that mic right now.
Sure don't.
And tell us about this board.
Sit in the bike and then hobble into the restaurant.
At least you're still getting exercise all you heard.
I was totally, I honestly did not stop. I think I rode 16 miles the day after it happened. So,
well, best rehab.
Yep.
Well, Matt is suffering a worse injury than you. Apparently.
What do you got, Matt?
This is a serious wiffle ball injury.
No way.
Father's Day wiffle ball.
Yes. a jam?
I think I did it. Yeah, we were playing wiffle ball with the boys on Father's Day.
Yep.
And I went to catch one, and it just kind of hit my finger wrong, and it felt fine. Didn't even think anything about it. And then woke up Monday, and I was like, this kind of hurts. And then I woke up Tuesday, and it hurt worse. And then I shaped a bunch on Tuesday, and I think I
So it's a break.
No, I went and got it. I thought maybe I did because it was like my knuckle was huge, and I couldn't do anything.
But it was the wiffle ball hit it or your hand hit it?
I don't really
Because a wiffle ball's not that
But who hit who?
You're getting old, dude. You're getting
Except
old.
for who hit the wiffle ball? Was it your son?
My son, but it was just like a pop up, and I was.
You sure it wasn't coming? Like, you sure he's not Major League Baseball material? Hitting a wiffle ball so hard.
Is a legit baseball player. He loves playing. He plays pretty seriously, but no, it was it was fully pathetic.
How fun is wiffle ball, by the way?
That's the best.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Like being able to actually throw a curveball for once in your life and all that kind of stuff is so fun.
We have a little, like a little field, like a little park right by our house, and it's like a mini baseball field. So it's like perfect wiffle ball size.
Yeah.
It's killer.
Amazing.
We should get a surf wiffle ball league going.
Hell no. We never do any of the things we say we're going to do, and that would be the lowest on the list.
I mean,
have you ever seen somebody though that you think they're athletic, and then you see them throw a ball?
Oh yeah.
And you're like,
you have never once done anything athletic in your life.
And then you judge.
Yeah.
It changes your entire opinion of that person too.
Totally.
Oh man, did I talk about this about teaching kids to throw?
No.
On the show? Teach the kids, homeschool the kids. So we have like, I think 8 or 9 of them now. I just always assumed that throwing a ball was innate, that you are born learning to throw a ball. So we took the kids out, the range in age from 9 to 5, I guess. The amount of awful throwing was so shameful that, it's fathers who teach, that us fathers went and just like started screaming at the kids and whipping them and then whipping ourselves for raising such awful athletes. And then throwing a ball became part of the curriculum.
It's kind of a signifier. If you can look like you know how to throw versus if you can't.
It really is a signifier. I think there's a greater percentage of bad throwers now than there ever has been before.
Oh my goodness.
It's directly related to iPhone usage.
Yeah.
You
see it too with like when they have celebrities come out and do the first pitch.
Yes.
Oh man.
Games. And Brett Simpson did throughout the first pitch at an Angel game last weekend. Legitimate, good throw.
Yeah, Simpo was like a straight up athlete.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's an athlete and his dad was
a
pro
NFL player.
Yeah. Then you see another, have you ever seen like the 50 Cent?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's somebody who you would expect should be able to
throw a ball. But
it's not Mariah Carey, it's 50 Cent.
Yeah.
50 Cent.
50. But man, throwing a ball. If you don't know how to throw, get out there at night. Be
ashamed of yourself.
Be ashamed enough to go fix the problem.
We'll take the next 3 months off surfing and focus on fixing your throw.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Parker, we are giving away the album Free Wing this month. And, within 24 hours, I would say. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't win it, they're going to want to buy one. Yeah. So what can you tell them about it?
The Free Wing is like the bridge from shortboards to twin fins. So for a lot of guys that are maybe afraid to jump all in on a twin because they've had mixed experiences in the past where they felt too slippery or they couldn't surf it in all kinds of waves, the Free Wing is kind of like the bridge. So,
bridge board.
Yeah. So Jack Freestone, it's his model, and obviously he's spent years riding thrusters, performance boards, but wanted to make a switch to just riding everything. But this was kind of like. He has a Twinsman's and he has all these other alternative boards, but this was kind of the center point for him where it could kind of like feel like a little bit of what he's used to, but still progress in a different way. So.
I think a criticism often, or that I hear of twins, is they go rough backside. Mm-hmm. Does this Free Wing, can you pump it backside?
For sure. I think that's a misnomer with twin fins in general, but yes, you can. This has a stabilizer fin. It's set up, tri-fin setup. So the real key distinction is almost all of my other twin fins are just twin fins. There's no center fin. And this one's set up, and the fins are placed specifically where you can run your normal thruster set or run twin trailer.
Why do you think it's a misnomer that you can't go good backside?
I think there are a lot of bad twin fins that you can't go backside on because their fins are placed weird or whatever it is. And I think fish style boards tend to want to go more lateral down the line. And usually when you're going backside, you want to really crank a bottom turn into the hook. And sometimes they want to just run. So I think if you place the fins in the right spot, right under your back foot and where your weight is,
you'll be fine.
You can pivot off that heel side fin into the pocket. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I'm on a fish, if I'm going front side, I'm fine with the lateral adjustment. Yeah. I'm aiming down the line basically, and I can do little carves. But when I go backside, you're right. I aim for a bottom turn and try to crack the lip. And the fish doesn't want to do it.
It kind of just wants to like, no, we're going this way.
Of course it doesn't. But I make that adjustment on my forehand. I don't on my backhand. But in the footage I've seen of Jack Freestone riding this, he's doing backside full rotations.
He is.
On this board.
Totally.
Yeah, Jack Freestone is surfing as good as I've ever seen him surf, to be honest. Is that because
it's the magic of being freed up and surfing without?
Are you sure it's not the magic of album surfboards?
I'm sure that helps, but part of that is the freedom of like no expectations, just go out and.
I mean, he's properly ripping, right? Have you seen?
What's funny is his kind of lowest performance was while he was on tour.
Yeah,
because prior to tour, when he was putting all those banger clips out,
ripping.
He was like literally one of the greatest free surfers in the world. On tour, just that pressure. He didn't live up to kind of what we expected. Now he's off tour and he's doing it again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a bummer.
It's a little bit of an indictment on the tour. We all love it, but it's like it's a
Thank
little bit
you.
of an indictment on what brings out the best of surfing.
It's 100% true. So unfortunately,
anyway, somebody will enjoy this immensely.
What dims are you supposed to ride it in? Are you supposed to ride it in your
close to shortboard dims?
Okay.
Yeah, Jack's shortboards were like 6.0, 6.1, and he rides this like 5.10 to 5 to 6.0.
But the volume's just a liter and a half more than.
It just ends up being like a tick more, just because I think everybody should ride a tick more than they think they should, anyways.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Most regular people, anyways, seem to do a little bit better, have more fun.
And in terms of outline, looks very similar to a pointy thruster. It's got a little bump in the tail.
Relaxed rocker, a little bit fuller entry in the nose.
Okay.
Not as pinny as a shortboard.
Okay.
What's the bottom concave?
Yeah, so a single to a double within a single. So like a spiral V through the fins. A little hip, give it a little release, little pivot point.
Yeah. We've talked about, I think, like the twin fin or the twins min, that style of twin fin being a bridge board between shortboard and mid-length. Mm-hmm. But we've never talked about the bridge between shortboard and the twin. And I love it. It's perfect. Yeah. I missed that when I was getting off pointy thrusters.
Well,
I could have used it.
There's so many people that still want a shortboard and they still want to rip, and we're so habitual in how we surf, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of has their approach, and so sometimes it's difficult to translate that to something different. And so if you just do a slight tweak to the board, you can almost keep the same approach that you would normally have, but you get a little bit more out of it.
Right.
So still shortboard bottom turn and hit the lip, but it just
Man, I want to win this board. Tell you what.
And by switching thrusters versus twins with the trailer, you get almost two boards.
Totally different feelings, between the two.
So epic. Well done.
Yeah, hopefully somebody enjoys
pretty
it
too.
Immensely.
Congratulations on another great offering too.
Congrats to the winner.
Yeah.
And are all of them coming with the same aesthetic? With the
we did a whole series. The first batch we did for stock, we did like this resin abstract tint on the bottom and same logo style, but we do them all.
Okay.
Variations. All of our boards are kind of one-offs. So
sweet.
Beautiful.
Hey, congratulations and continued success to Album Surfboards.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Best surf shop in the world.
Yeah. All right. Always a pleasure.
Oh man, isn't he just a gift?
Absolutely.
Parker?
Absolutely.
A gift. I've stolen so many boards from him. Ruthlessly stolen from that nice man. That kind man, and I just take them and don't bring them back.
Do you feel ashamed?
Yes,
Yeah,
deep shame.
I totally would.
At least I can throw a ball.
Yeah, you should just. He needs to witness you throwing a ball so that he can feel not as bad.
He can forgive me for my theft.
Exactly. So Rio ended since I saw you last.
Rio ended. We have a winner, a surprise, a shock winner in Felipe Toledo.
Yeah, I was completely
blown away.
Well, I was blown away that they gave him a 10 for once.
Wow.
I mean, not once. He's gotten a few 10s, but he tends to get underscored, and so them giving him a 10 was appropriate.
Yeah. Do you think that was an appropriate 10 though?
The question. For sure.
Boosted air.
I mean, it was. So the reason why it was a 10 in my eyes was from the moment he was paddling into that wave, I'm like, oh, it's a closeout. Why is he going on a closeout? I want to go on that closeout. Then he gets up and riding, and I see that section. I'm like, that section's crazy big. Like, is he really going to crack that thing? Oh, not only is he going to crack it, but he squeezes in a bottom turn enough to aim for the moon. And then while he's going up, I'm like, that's a flyaway. Rotates, fully controlled the whole time. There's an inversion. The bottom of the board's facing to the beach at some point. It was just, the entire thing was beyond my comprehension of what was possible to do on a surfboard. And then he lands it, and you're like, oh,
10.
That has to be a 10.
And they gave it to him.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Funny thing, congrats to Carissa Moore too, her 25th win, which that's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
25.
Yeah.
She's not even that old. Anyway, back to Philippe real quick. The thing is, I wrote about this on Beach Grip, but the finals day at Lower Trestles has always felt not custom built for Philippe, but that he was the surfer who was going to come in because of his, let's just call it his big wave shyness or bigger wave shyness, would come into the final day at number 3, 4, maybe 2, 3 probably, and win the whole thing, right? It's felt custom built for him to do that. He's got a 10,000 point lead right now over second place Jack Robinson.
Yeah.
10,000 points.
Yep.
He's won J-Bay before. He goes in, does well at J-Bay. Now we're talking, I mean, he could have such an astronomical lead. Last year, Gabe had a big lead coming in.
It was the same situation. Gabe had an astronomical lead.
But was it astronomical at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we were having this conversation last year.
I remember.
If he loses, it's a complete travesty.
Sure. But this year, Philippe, I mean, if he continues to perform, which he, again, very well could, I could totally see Idolo coming in 3rd, 4th, and finally finding, because Idolo has not found his magic yet this year at all. He is surfed serviceably, gotten into quarters and semis, but has not felt like the same Idolo, right? Yeah. It feels like that spark is gone, but that's the most dangerous, right? All he needs is one day of spark. He finds that spark at Trestles. Boom. I mean, the WSL, again, set this thing up for excitement. They dodged a bullet last year with Gabe winning. They will hope to dodge a bullet this year if Philippe has a giant lead with Philippe winning. Because one of these times they're not going to get lucky, though. There's going to be someone comes in with an astronomical lead and loses.
Yeah. What about the scenario of, we talk about Felipe not performing in big barreling surf, right?
Yeah.
He's already secured his top 5 spot.
Yep.
He could actually sit out for Chopu.
Sure.
If the waves are pumping, he could sit out for Chopu.
Sure.
So we would still have that criticism of him. I think the more realistic and concerning issue is that if Chopu is small and Felipe, makes a few heats or whatever, and then continues on and wins the world title, he will still have that asterisk next to his name about, is he qualified in big surf? And the reason why that's troubling is that is now an indictment on the WSL for, how did you not provide good waves? We have a world champion who's going to be a world champ. He has that title for the rest of his life, yet your entire viewing public questions the validity of his world championship because you didn't provide a court for him to showcase.
Wouldn't they just say, though, hey, man, we can't control the weather, like we tried to with G-Land, we tried to with, obviously, with Chopu, we tried to with Pipe, whatever, and we just didn't. I mean, Pipe was pumping.
Well, we believed that 15 years ago. Yeah. I accepted that, but now we know that, in fact, you could put the surfers in the best waves in the world if that was your goal.
I mean,
that's clearly not their goal.
In the right window, too, right? Like,
yes,
G-Land was pumping before and pumping after. Just they did a bad window.
Correct. It's clear at this point that their objective is not to put the best surfers in the best waves in the world. They have a bunch of other objectives that are prioritized above that, like having a crowd on the beach at Rio. Like the waves in Rio were kind of as good or as fun as Sakurama gets, or maybe like an 8 out of 10, but it's far from the best waves on the planet. And then we're watching the QS events, the NEOS event, absolutely pumping.
Man, that
at
NEOS,
the exact same time.
Those NEOS waves were crazy tone.
Right.
But also, I'm going to go to bat for the WSL here. The way that the Brazil event felt, like Huntington Beach here too, right? Like there's something to pro surfing in front of a throng of people on the beach, right? Like I get it. I get that waves should always be the priority, but sometimes I think it's nice to throw in a big sweaty crowd.
Yeah, pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The crowd can't be prioritized over the waves.
But Brazil feels like a bit of a perfect nexus of, they have it close to Rio, right? Which is great. The waves aren't great, but to me, the Brazil event is what on the ledger is a winner.
I think it should be a QS event. Go ahead and give it a Challenger Series stop and enjoy all of that. And that crowd may even draw the Felipe Toledos of the world to go and compete in front of their home crowd. I'm fine with all of that.
I mean,
but the championship level should be champion quality waves.
That's who the crowd wants to see anyways, is Brazilians, right? I mean, they're not there to cheer on. I mean, I guess you need a bad guy. Jack Robinson should have played a better bad guy.
No, he's Brazilian now.
Oh yeah, he is. Sorry, the Brazilification of Jack Robinson.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he can't play the bad guy. Who could play the bad guy? Who could play the white bad guy? I guess Kalohe could.
Well, it doesn't have to be white. I mean, Kanoa could be the bad guy.
It's hard to have a Japanese bad guy. I mean, I guess he could.
I think that would be more compelling even.
A Japanese bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
There's
okay.
a samurai kind of quality that you can incorporate into the
I mean, I don't
narrative.
know how somebody's not one of the mid-tiers like Kalohe. Kanoa's got gas in the tank, I think. Let's just be honest. Kalohe's career is what it is, right?
Jesus.
Is it?
It's so sad.
I mean, is it though? Can we say that his career is what it is? Or is there going to be a spark?
The guy's never won a contest.
I know.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Griffin's won a couple now.
Yeah.
You know? It's really sad to accept.
I
had such high expectations. I actually like him. I think I love his personality. Yeah.
Love Kalohe.
Love his surfing. And it's
Yeah.
like, geez, oh. I felt this way. Julian Wilson, it was just so hard to come to terms with him not winning a world title.
Yeah.
Jordy Smith, it's a tough pill to swallow. I'm still swallowing it. Those guys have at least won events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Kalohe, it's like, gosh, here's the crazy thing. The only reason you and I are talking about Kalohe, have such an awareness about Kalohe, is the marketing machine.
Sure. But
The marketing machine had created all of these expectations, forced them into our awareness. There's been other equally good surfers all along the way that never got that propulsion
Sure.
from the machine, who you and I aren't discussing anymore because...
forgotten. I
Yeah.
don't even remember their names.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Cansdell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like O'Neill didn't pump him enough.
Yeah.
But he was insane. So it probably still is.
The Kalohe, how old is he?
I don't know.
You don't think that, I mean, at some point, I guess you are what you are. You don't think that he'll have a breakout at Chopu?
Hell no. Definitely not that. I mean, where would he have it? I would have said El Salvador. I would have said maybe J-Bay, but no, I mean, there was 5 years ago where I still would have bet money on it. But when you think about him versus Felipe, when you think about him versus Cano, when you think about him versus Griffin even,
Yeah.
like I'd bet on each of those other competitors every step of the way. Sammy Pupo, I'd bet on over him. Joao, who's not on tour, but I would bet on him. Baron Mamiya, I'd bet on him over Kalohe. You know what I mean? Like, go down the list.
It's tough. It is really
So
tough.
what does Kalohe have to do at this point? He needs to reinvent all of it.
Yeah. But what is he ranked right now? 10?
No, dude, he's low.
Really?
I just looked it up the other day.
Is he challenging a series? Challengingest series?
Well, the funny thing is he's qualified for next year based on the way that things are structured now.
Yeah. And so he's just got to stay above it.
16th.
Okay.
Equal 16th with Nat Young.
Has Kalohe ever been into a final?
Yes.
He has.
Yeah.
Where?
Don't remember.
Okay. So he sniffed it.
I think so.
I'm going to go Kalohe for a contest win at some point this year.
I'm trying to see. Sometimes they show his best performance on the WSL site, but I don't see it right now. But anyways, it's a sad story. I hate to bash him because I actually
Love
like him
him.
a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go Kalohe.
Yeah. Hey,
JB's
let's
yours.
pause it real quick.
Yeah.
I got to take this call. Getting my windshield replaced.
Kalohe? Kalohe.
Kalohe. You're betting on him. I'm not.
I'm going to say J-Bay. Kalohe for a shock win at J-Bay.
I would love to see it.
Let's go back to...
I got burned by Julian for so many years.
I know.
And Jordy. So now I'm like, I won't touch that flame again.
Back to Brazil. Funny thing for the WSL, I think there. The Brazilian surfers are clearly, as a group, some of the very best, not just on tour, but in the world. Correct?
Yes.
Also, there's still some underlying feeling in Brazil that the judges are pushing them through because they're nervous about actually getting beat up by the fans.
Really?
feels that way. It feels like, I don't know why it should feel that way, because the Brazilian surfers, again, are the best in the world. But I think Jack Robinson getting ripped off, straight ripped off, opens the door for those feelings.
Wait, when did he get ripped off? In Brazil, you think?
In Brazil, yeah. He had the score at the end.
I watched that heat. I don't think he got ripped off.
Turpel never says nothing. Turpel thought he got ripped off.
Do you remember who he was surfing against?
A Brazilian.
Was it Caleb Robson? Oh, it was a Brazilian?
Yeah.
Oh, Mateus Hurdy.
Mateus Hurdy.
It was Mateus Hurdy.
Yes.
I watched, after I saw that story, I went back and watched it, and it's definitely not a ripoff. Maybe it is arguable, but it wasn't like Jack surfed incredibly better than Mateus.
See, here's the thing with the judges, right? Those dang judges. They clearly have a plot that they're following, but they pretend they don't. But it's also the wrong plot they're following, right? Like, you can script this. It's very clear that they do script this, right? I don't think the judges are colluding, but I think there's an overall sense of who, kind of the storyline they want.
So explain, what plot are they following and why is it the wrong one?
Well, I think they're in Brazil. They were following the plot of Brazil surfers, right? Like, I truly think they probably did get scared, the judges, with all the online heat after El Salvador and going into Brazil. How does that not influence you, right? Them. Like, I think
I think that's true, is that the judges are all surfing fans.
Yes.
And they're definitely have, as any surf fan, you have a favorite surfer, and all of that is affecting their judging. Even though they're trying their hardest to be subjective, how could you possibly divorce yourself from your investment in the sport, right? And so, yeah, they are excited about these storylines that are developing. And so, yeah, when they go to write down a score, how are you not factoring that? Sure. How are you unable to divorce it?
But I'm saying what would have served the storyline better was if the Hurdy and Jack Robinson heat was close, kick Jack through, because now you got
an enemy.
You have fans on the beach just tearing their hair out, and you have like way louder screams for, whoever he's surfing against moving forward. If it was against Felipe or whoever,
that would would imply that there's a puppeteer, though.
But that's not
thinking that far in advance.
But in the close ones, I don't know. You're an entertainment company. In the close heats like that, how do you not have somebody who's smart enough to think, this is really close, let's give it to, like, professional surfing, to think that this is all completely objective anyway is laughable,
but
right?
That is still what they're believing.
You can push that out, thinking. but there is a dash, more than a dash, of WWF. Is it WWE now? Yeah, sorry. Of professional wrestling in here, right? Where, like, it is not purely objective. So when you come up with a moment, I mean, they should have, I don't know why nobody's thinking that. Why nobody's thinking, okay, this heat is really close. If there's some heats not close, don't need to push anybody through, right? Other heats, the heats that are back and forth, man, where somebody's going to complain no matter who loses, put the better storyline through.
They're definitely not thinking that way. They're definitely completely subject to their biases, not acknowledging that they are, trying their best to be objective, but they're being ruled by their biases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you're saying just acknowledge your biases,
acknowledge
think
them,
of the greater good.
Precisely, the greater storyline, and you never have to make that public. You never have to say we are biased, and we no matter how hard we try, we subjectively look at things in the way we do, right? And so we're going to get a lot of these things wrong, and so instead of just getting them wrong, we're going to make it more interesting for you.
Yeah, they'll never do that.
They should. They don't have to say it.
They'll
just
have to change the E, change the initial to E
just
somewhere in the title.
WSE.
Yeah.
World Surf Entertainment.
So remember I, years ago, talked about the correlation between blonde hair and world titles?
Yes.
Gabe just bleached his hair blonde. Jack Robinson just bleached his hair blonde. I think they're going through the archives listening to our show, and they came across that, and they're like, oh, this is what we need to do.
Except what if there's also a correlation between bleaching your hair blonde and or having blonde hair and blowing out your MCL?
Yeah, that's possible too.
Uh-oh. John Florence, now Gabe.
Yep.
Yeah, Gabe's I was so high on Gabe coming back and sweeping. And man, what a falter that was. Like, he should not have come back.
You know what the problem was? Too much off time without cross-training in preparation for doing the most athletic thing possible.
Him trying to stick his airs in that heat. Remember where he was like way down the beach from who? Who was he surfing against?
Connor O'Leary, maybe?
Connor O'Leary was ripping him a new one. If it was Connor O'Leary, it might have been Callum. Somebody.
It wasn't Connor.
It was some serviceable Australian.
I'd say Callum. I think it was Callum.
Yeah, but was down there getting barreled, ripping, etc. Gabe was like a mile down the beach on some wonky left, trying to land airs like that, and he just couldn't land one.
Airs that he always lands every time in his career.
Yeah.
If he falls once in a heat, that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
He fell 6 attempts in a row.
Like,
and they weren't the craziest airs ever.
No,
they were like
lazy.
stock
They were like
standard
lazy airs on a lesser wave.
Yeah, it was Caleb Robson.
It was unfortunate to watch that play out. I like Gabriel to have the sheen of like the Dark Knight of the guy who just the assassin who's like watching him struggle made me uncomfortable.
Well, I don't know where his injury happened. If he was falling because he had the injury or if he got injured on one of those falls, but it looks like he probably got injured on one of the falls or after, even towards the end of the heat, because once he was up and riding, he looked uninjured.
Yeah.
He would just not land the air. So I'm going to claim that he injured himself on the final air, maybe.
Which is such a classic of being out of shape, coming back and going back like full throttle.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he should not have come back. He should have, if he wanted to come back, he should have said, okay, I want to come back, but I've clearly been either partying or whatever. I'm going to get ready for next year and come back and just dominate.
Yeah.
Because now he's screwed, right? Now he's going to have to rehab his knee. He's not going to be ready for next year. I mean, this could be the end of competitive Gabriel Medina as we know him.
Man,
this could fully be it, right? He
should have stayed with Charlie.
He's not getting younger. He's getting older. He's going to rehab his knee. So next year is pretty much a write-off, right? And now
we don't know.
I mean, pretty much.
Well, they said they're going to revisit the knee in 2 weeks, medically assess it to give a more specific prognosis because they couldn't tell right out of the gates. So he could be actually back for Chopu. He's sitting out J-Bay, could be back for Chopu. Best case scenario.
Look at once the MCL start going. Look at John.
I know, like that's the problem.
And they get in your head and
well, at that level too. Like we have never seen surfing. The way that these guys are surfing for the last 3 or 4 years puts a strain on the body that we had never seen before.
Yep.
Doing 6-foot airs on sections that are overhead, all that kind of stuff. So we don't know what the effects are yet. It remains to be seen, but we do know you can't take 9 months off
and then just come back
and then come back full
roaring.
Force. Yeah, exactly. So
sad.
It is unfortunate.
Who's the new Gabriel Medina? If Gabriel Medina is effectively finished as a storyline, as a, whatever, as the sort of ultimate bad guy, who takes Gabe's spot as a cutthroat winner?
We don't have one.
Yeah, it's a big void.
In terms of who could do what he's done to kind of put fear in the hearts of all the other competitors, win a bunch of world titles, it could be Idolo if he gets his act together.
Idolo's act is
he's showing
really untogether right now.
He's showing a chink in the armor this season, but he needs to get that. If he can tighten up that, then he could be that. But
he might be showing a kink in the armor too.
Might be.
He looks pretty kinky.
In my vocabulary, kink makes more sense than chink. I don't like saying chink in the armor. I prefer saying kink in the armor.
The problem is because chink is also a racial slur.
That's true.
That's why you don't want to say it.
Is it?
Yes.
I've never used the racial slur.
Of course you haven't, but it is. And so...
Yeah, maybe. But...
So you have I think...
But a kink in the armor still...
I mean, if you had a kink in the armor, your armor would be weird, be misformed.
It'd be into defecation.
Yeah.
Man, we got some weird defecation follow-up emails and calls last week. We're not playing any of them.
Good. Also, I don't even want to talk about the Instagram DM we got. That profoundly disturbed me.
I read it to Lauren. We were on the sofa on a Friday night, and I was like, horrified.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is going on over there? And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I don't even want to share this with you.
No.
I'm like, do you want to be disgusted? She's like, what kind of disgusting? What is it about? And I'm like, sex and defecation? She's like, now I have to know.
Ooh.
And I explained it to her, and she was just like, who are these people?
Yeah. But I knew they were out
these
there.
people?
I knew they were out there.
How do they find one another?
There must be some kind of like code sign you do with your hand.
It has to be.
Yeah.
That is like if you're at a truck stop and you put like a bandana in your back left pocket. Sort
Exactly.
Of thing. So if you go on a date and you have, what would it be?
A
bolo tie?
Yeah, something. Bolo tie and John Lennon sunglasses.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm disgusted. I don't even know where to go from here.
Oof.
I know what can bring us back.
What?
Barton Lynch.
Oh, he sure can. Papa Barton. Done. Lynched. I was pretty proud of my headline using Lynch, his last name, to be lynched.
And assigning the WSL with the crime.
Blame, exactly. But they were.
Well, okay.
I don't understand this. So I frankly do not understand this.
Barton Lynch took to Instagram, said, hey, everybody's been asking me when I'm going to be back in the booth, commentary booth for the WSL. I reached out to them. They said my services are no longer needed this year, maybe is what they said.
That's what he said.
But he's smiling the entire time that he said it. He's
affable, glowing,
completely exuberant about other opportunities that he has to share his insights on professional surfing and other mediums or platforms.
Pirate Stream.
And I just thought to myself, wow, if the WSL, I've never seen a better send-off or like resignation, or this is not a burning of the bridge.
No.
This is him putting on display exactly why they should be hiring him. If I was the WSL and I was in charge of putting commentators in booths and I saw that, I would go, wow, I made a huge mistake. This guy exhibits everything that we want. First of all, he's a world champ. He's as expert in his insights and commentary as anybody we've ever seen. That's not even debatable.
Yeah.
That's not debatable. And then his affability and charisma that he's displaying in this one post alone, which we already knew existed, but in this one post alone, they're the wall of positive noise. He exemplified that.
Not only, but with Barton, it doesn't seem
not phony at all.
It doesn't seem fake. Like his positivity, his good vibe,
it's coming from his heart.
Exactly. Where that's why I love to see Barton in the booth. Frankly, this is so confusing to me. I have to think that it comes down to a money thing, which I hope that Barton said, nope, this is what
I doubt that.
This is what it costs for me to do it. And if you can't meet that, then, it's great. And they're just lowballing Cote and whoever else.
You think that's what it comes down to? He's not like asking for $1 million.
No, but
but he's a reasonable human being. And I think I think that his heart is in the game so much that he would actually do it for scale.
I'm sure he would think like, hey, I'm
a world champ.
I'm a world champ. I bring something and I'm not going to devalue myself. I am worth this much.
But when does the WSL nickel and dime?
Well, that's what I don't know. That's the only, is Barton Lynch not the world's favorite surf commentator?
He has to be.
I mean, I love him.
If they did,
you love him. I would think that he comes out. I mean, can we conduct? I guess we're weighting the scale here, but to get it. Can we do? We should just do one on Instagram, right? Those are easy to put up.
The pirate stream?
No, the
poll.
Poll. Is Barton Lynch your favorite? I mean, to our audience, who knows?
I think we can just answer it right now. Yeah,
he is, right?
He'd be right up there.
And so, how do you not have, again, his pedigree, his expertise, his knowledge, his relationship with the surfers, his relationship with the waves and the spots? It just makes no sense to me that if he wanted, it would make all kinds of sense to me if he didn't want to do it. And WSL's like, oh, he's not there because he's busy. He reached out to them to say, I am available the rest of the year. And they said, shove it, Barton.
Yeah, I know.
What assholes?
I mean, maybe it's, what it could very well be is, actually, this doesn't make sense either. I was going to say that he's a middle-aged white male. They don't need another one, but
Chris Cote.
But that's who
that's who they
have started cycling in
Shannon
female
Hughes.
voices.
Yeah, great.
And Mitch Salazar, who speaks Spanish, which is fantastic. And he's great. She's great. That's all great. But they brought Cote, Pete Mel, and Turpel down to Brazil.
Yeah.
So Barton would have fit in that interchangeably with any of them.
I mean, I love Pete. I love Cote. Don't get me wrong. Turpel, please make him go away. But I get that you need sort of a straight man.
Yeah.
But man, find him like.
We should change.org petition. Bring Barton back.
I mean, for sure. Let's do it.
Except I don't even care
Awareness.
anymore. I honestly, the crazy thing is, as much as we talk about it, I don't really care anymore.
It's funny to talk about.
Like it is funny to talk about and it's easy. It's low hanging fruit, I guess. But like with Brazil, I barely watched any of the events.
Really?
I loved pro surfing. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to watch events for my entire life. And at this point, it's so far removed from.
But engagement is through the roof. They're growing by 100,000% year over year.
And Costco's selling more wave storms than they ever sold before too. It's just, I don't understand or identify with what surfing has become on that scale. You know what I mean? And this is just one further decision where it's like, yeah, we could rally our listeners and sign a petition and get Barton his job back. And it's like, I don't know, Barton probably could do better things with his life than go commentate for the WSL at this point.
I mean, Barton did suggest something at the end that sounded an awful lot like a pirate stream. And I know you and I have tried one before. I tried one with Sterling Spencer before. I think Derek and I have tried one. I think you and I and Derek. Like, this idea of a pirate stream has floated. And of all the things we talk about and don't do, I've actually before tried, and we tried to do a pirate stream.
We did a great one once.
Yeah, exactly. So this is something we've actually done. It's really, really, really hard. But again, I don't know. Like, yeah, I hope that Barton is going to try and do a better job of a pirate stream.
Well, and even if he doesn't, in the new world order, I mean, ultimately when the WSL redirects entirely and changes all their management structure, which they've done 4 times since they've been the WSL, Barton should be the first guy on that call list.
Yep.
On that call sheet. A couple of true grit or clickbait crap headlines. Pop sensation Shakira embraces cathartic properties of high-performance surfing in order to mend damaged heart after breakup with cheating soccer stud! !
It's true, except for the high-performance surfing bit. I think she was probably on a pink longboard.
Low performance?
Low performance. I should have
Fair to Midland?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. It said she is in her handsome man, Spanish soccer player, football player, Gerard Pique, broke up with her, or they broke up. I think there was suggestions that cheating might have been involved.
Shocking.
But she went and is mending her heart by surfing in northern Spain, which that's not where I would go to mend my broken heart surfing.
Well, is it a wave pool? The
No.
footage was a wave, or the image was a wave pool.
That was a wave pool.
Yeah.
But no.
That was from a music video.
She's on the beach, yeah. She's on the beach surfing. But if I was going to mend my broken heart surfing, I would go to the Maldives.
Niyama.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, why go to...
Well, especially if you're her. The stop point for me is that it's expensive.
Yeah.
For her, she could go rent an island.
That's what I'm saying. And she's staying in the country of her heartbroken ex-lover.
She's not over it yet.
I mean, apparently not. But
she wants to be seen on the beach by him.
also, I would have gone to Colombia if I was her.
Why?
Because she's Colombian.
Oh,
but
is she?
also, Colombia is a beautiful country. And I don't know about Colombia's waves, but I'm sure it has some.
Is it coastal?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You didn't know Colombia was coastal? The very tip there of South America.
I don't know anything about the waves in Colombia either. So cathartic properties of high performance or of surfing in general, it does heal all. It's cliche to say,
But it does.
it mends a broken heart.
For sure. Especially a broken heart.
When I think of all of the ups and downs of my life, surfing has been the one core thing that was just always part of the routine. And I mean, other people probably have running or working out or other things that are also cathartic, but it's like that ritual of just no matter what's going on, every day you're going to drive down there, you're going to confront this thing, you're going to maybe not conquer it, but you're at least going, like, if you can kind of do this thing, everything else seems easier.
And it's even in the midst of real pain, that is an hour or such that it'll be really, the pain will be dulled because you're thinking about something else.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for her.
Yep. Good job, Shakira.
So who cheated on who?
I think the rumors are that he on her.
Who did he cheat with?
I don't know, but he looks dashing. So probably with
Whoever he wanted to.
Yeah.
Bummer, Shakira. Sorry to hear this.
So, but
heartbreaking.
And did you see also in the she also reached out to Kelly Slater in the when the cheating rumor came out, or when the breakup became public, she requested, or she friended, or she followed Kelly Slater on Instagram.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Saw that story on Beach Grit.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I know Kelly is married now to Kalani Miller.
Not quite.
They are. That's a silly ass thing right there.
No,
Well,
but they're legally.
yeah.
They got married? Is this a news story?
No,
Oh, okay.
but like they are common law.
Yeah.
So same diff.
Except, which I don't think, if you don't, they don't actually live together, and they don't even, I don't think he even has a proper full-time home.
Do you think Kelly Slater
legally
is
he's
like
dancing around
is
it?
loopholed common law marriage?
He's checking how long do you have to be? Okay, we're out of here.
That's good. You know so crazy.
You know what question I had for Brandon Sneed that I just dodged because he felt so on his heels?
Yeah.
You revealed through this article that Kelly is friends with Tom Brady.
Yes.
Kelly used to be with Giselle.
Yeah.
So he's friends with his ex-girlfriend's husband?
He is.
Let's discuss.
I mean,
Come on, give us the juice. Like, what happened there, Brandon? Did you know that?
Brandon would not have given the juice.
No, he really wouldn't. Yeah,
Really blew that one.
really did. But there is some sort of story here about him being friends with his ex-girlfriend's husband.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
True grit or clickbait crap. World Surf League suffers embarrassing spate of typos and grammar errors, leading fans to wonder if the home of professional surfing actively hates the English language.
So true. It's funny. And I never touch them because it just is like par for the course now. But during WSL events, especially when they're putting out materials, I will get between, I'm going to say 3 and 5 DMs, emails, text messages a day featuring embarrassing WSL typos, them getting the wrong name on the wrong surfer, straight up misspellings, all kinds of goofy stuff. And I just ignore all of it. I finally got one today and I was like, okay, this is the one that broke the camel's back. I now have to write about the World Surf League. There's clearly no copy editing ever happening, which started the article with those who live in glass houses. Beach Grit is clearly a home to being very loose and fast with the English language. But WSL is a professional organization, and to throw out such unprofessional stuff, like basic typo spelling error stuff, like I just don't get it. I don't get how there's not at least one person checking stuff before it gets public.
What was the example?
Well, I mean, the last one was
back.
it was like a head-to-head matchup between Idolo and someone, and they spelled head Heaf.
No way.
Heft to head. Yeah.
Oh, that's why the subtitle said heft to head.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
But I get so many of those,
so
right?
funny.
So many of them.
well, what about Kanoa Igarshi?
Exactly.
On the back of his jersey, they printed the jersey.
I just don't get, like, when you're out front saying robust growth, this is a boom time for professional surfing, et cetera, but you clearly don't have an employee to half check the stuff that's going out, then come on. Like, at least if you're going to say that you're growing huge, then hire a copy editor.
Right. They probably did at one point.
Yeah.
That person's
gone.
long gone. Let's do commercial break and then come back with, I got a couple follow-up questions and then barrel or not.
Let's do it.
All right. Hey, Chaz, commercial break for athleticgreens.com/surf.
Guess what I read this morning?
Tell me.
athleticgreens.com/surf is sponsoring some event or series or something. I should have read the article at New York's Montauk Surf Lodge.
Shut up.
Which is, have you ever been to Montauk Surf Lodge?
No, but I'm going there next month.
Oh,
I'm going to New York next month, so we could do it.
Go hit Montauk Surf Lodge. Surf Lodge is really like a full-on scene. I mean, it is the Hampton scene, right? I saw Danny Fuller there once. We had a nice chat, but it really is a great spot. And athleticgreens.com/surf, which I wonder, again, I should have read the article, if they're mixing cocktails or something with Athletic Greens.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but I don't know what else you'd be doing.
Fueling people's day and their wellness.
I mean, fueling their evening for sure.
I mean, you take that in the morning, it'll get you through the evening.
I mean, definitely, that's what I do. But imagine that you're feeling down in the evening, that you've driven from Manhattan out to Montauk, sat in a bunch of traffic, you're worn down, you're tired, feeling edgy, rock up to the surf lodge, somebody pours you a refreshing athleticgreens.com/surf.
The great news is it doesn't take long to ingest it to fuel whatever's going on next and the rest of the day.
Feel better right away.
Yeah, it's not like a big commitment.
No, organic.
This thing is the empty bottle, proving the reason why this show is so great today. Boom, this is the evidence.
You know who I bet doesn't drink athleticgreens.com/surf?
Tell me.
Brandon Sneed.
Brandon.
Low energy.
He was drinking something out of that coffee mug. It was definitely not green. It was probably coffee.
AG1.
No. Well, yeah. Jump on board athleticgreens.com/surf for optimal wellness and to support our work.
Who do they join on board?
What do you mean? Oh, they join you and I. They join Britt Merrick. They join Matt Parker. They join 97% of listeners. The 3% are the ones who need to get their act together.
I mean, get it together today.
Yeah, definitely. athleticgreens.com/surf. Chaz, we're back.
Ooh.
Final day today of not only the album giveaway, but of Pride Month. Is the Wallace Smith household celebrating, kicking off, or sending off the month of Pride?
I guess we will today.
What are you going to do to celebrate?
I mean, I'm going to go down to the beach in Speedos.
What does that signify?
That
What stereotype does that?
That my childhood idol was Greg Louganis.
Also gay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
This is not rude.
Got
this
it.
is not unfortunate. This is a true celebration for my childhood idol.
I have a new thought in my head right now. I should think it through before I say it out loud. Gay males, right?
Yes.
They identify as tops and bottoms.
Yes. Do they? All?
I don't know if all of them do, but it's breached my awareness, which means, yes, a large percentage,
Okay.
they identify as, right? And you'll
Yeah.
and I think it's often used as a joke. Like, I don't think it's a badge. They don't put it under their name when they
Yeah.
go to the trade show, but they do identify as like, hey, you got to make sure you're not both tops, like on the dating scene, whatever. How crazy is that?
It'd be hard.
Imagine you and I as heteros, if we branded ourselves as I'm into doggy style, like, oh, I only do reverse cowboy, or that's my preferred. But I'm on the dating scene now. Okay. All of you be aware.
Yeah.
Reverse cowgirl. That's my go-to. Right?
It really is weird.
It is the
Or not
weirdest
weird.
thing in the world.
I mean, it's normal, but it's
No, it's not.
complicated.
It's not normal.
It's complicated. It complicates an already, you would think, complicated scene. I mean, dating in general can be complicated, right? Like there's family stuff to work through. There is, all kinds of a myriad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you're finding your partner, there's
Not a myriad.
there's myriad
Yeah.
complications.
Yes.
So I guess putting your sexual position preference right at the top cuts through a lot of the bullcrap.
Sure.
You don't want to find that out 3 months in.
No, right away.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to celebrate today.
Yeah. I've got another joke, but I'm going to save it. Save it for the bonus content for our subscribers, maybe.
Right. Ooh, people should subscribe for that bonus content.
So celebrating Pride Month. Okay, celebrating 4th of July this coming week.
Yes.
That is what our Barrel or Nah is surrounded around.
Ooh, yeah. Are you going to be like Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day and renounce your U.S. citizenship?
I didn't know he did this.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
In a concert in London over the Roe versus Wade ruling.
Is he moving?
I don't know. He's renounced it in while playing a concert in London and said, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me. So I don't know.
They're like, that's okay. You don't
Just stay.
just come and do a concert once in a while. We don't need you here.
Yeah. 4th of July.
You peaked with Dookie.
4th of July for me ranks below Thanksgiving above May Day.
I'm going to go, it runs tandem with Halloween for me.
Really? I like Halloween a lot better.
I don't really love Halloween.
I mean,
it feels like a burden to me.
As an Oregon boy, growing up in Oregon, 4th of July was second to Christmas because we shot fireworks. Now, Southern California, like it was honestly coming down to California as a kid and realizing that you didn't shoot fireworks down here for 4th of July was the same exact feeling as if I would have come down here and you said, oh, in California, we don't get presents for Christmas.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
That's how
that was one of the Barrel or Nas is lighting fireworks.
That's how big a shocker was to me. I loved it I would like start thinking about it, early June. And as soon as Bimart stocked fireworks, limited budget for fireworks, but really trying to pick which pack had most bang for its buck. Literally. Loved it. Loved every second of it. 4th of July without fireworks. I could barbecue anytime I want. Go to the beach a lot.
Are you allowed to shoot fireworks in Cardiff?
No.
Yeah.
I think isn't it a blanket Southern California rule?
No.
Oh, I thought it was a blanket.
There are cities that are allowed.
Okay. I thought the fireworks you could shoot though, you could have like, I don't know, sparklers and do the like black worm.
Maybe you're allowed firecrackers, but not fireworks. I think that's a distinction. But again, it is city by city. Okay. So I would argue Chula Vista is allowed.
Okay, I'm going to go down to Chula Vista then.
National City, allowed.
Should go to TJ and shoot them off.
Definitely allowed there. Yeah. So you're into fireworks.
Into fireworks.
See, I had a different upbringing than you where it wasn't kind of pervasive, but also it just kind of felt like, why are we entertained by shiny things that light up? Like, I don't know. I'd rather watch a movie or something that would give me more gratification. Going outside and hearing loud noises and watching things sparkle is not a thrill to me.
When was the last time you had a full-on firework orgy where there was like a bunch of different kinds, bunch of people, like half the fun, not half, but some of the fun is it going to work, right?
Yeah.
Part of the fun is my hand going to get blown off before I can get away after lighting it? Part of the fun is this thing is billed. I see the packaging here. I see this big, cool thing. Is this going to be big and cool? Sometimes they are, right? Like there's so much fun that goes along with fireworks.
Yeah. So the answer is last year.
You
the last 2 years, if you remember, we recorded a podcast. I was in Texas.
Yes.
And we got a lake house and there's some extended family that's there. And so they're kind of super into fireworks and they want to do these huge things and show us kind of how it's done.
So you were over it though. You were out there.
I was like, I'm sitting there going, dude, this has been the least fun part of the day. Riding the jet skis earlier was amazing. Drinking all day, eating all day. That's all been amazing. I'm just kind of persevering through this moment right now.
Did you light any yourself?
No.
See, that's part of it. You've got to go up with the lighter and spark one of those wicks, I think, in order to feel the passion.
Okay, maybe next year I'll try.
To passion real quick. How is it not, I've talked about this before, how is it not straight racist that this is the only way Brazilian fans and surfers and everything get talked about? Where when does something, an adjective, when you use it 100% only for one group of people, when does it become racist? Like Jesse Miley Dyer, we thank the passionate fans. Like how many times do they say the word passion? And they all think it's positive, right? But it'd be like saying nonstop, like calling black people athletic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when does say, even if you have, you mean well, you're like complimenting, but describing a whole group or culture as one word when you're a white person over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Because they identify as, and so she's just amplifying their own.
I guarantee there's a bunch of Brazilians who are sitting there saying, stop effing calling us passionate. I am not passionate. I'm low key.
I get what you're saying, that how is that not racist when everything else that's not racist has become racist?
It's racist.
But it's because
not all Brazilians identify as passionate.
But they don't mind that their culture is. I'm speaking for them. Again,
it'd be like every time we talked about African-American culture. Wow, aren't they're great rhythm. This rhythmic culture, rhythmic. They are a rhythmic people.
Black dudes are like
great rhythm.
You guys assigning our appendage as being larger than everyone else's, we're going to correct that stereotype. Not into that anymore.
Except for passion is not necessarily 100, it also means like, and the way that the WSL uses it, or white people use it, it's like, ooh, kind of out of control, right? Like
that is part of it.
I mean, it's not just this pure, 100% good. It's not like, oh, Brazilians, the richest people in the world, or Brazilians, the whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like passion has a flip side.
It does.
And I do not for the life of me understand all these woke WSL people, Jesse Miley Dyer, straight out front, how you can use, it'd be like, we love when the WSL goes to Japan because we get all our math facts right every time. This culture is great at math. These mathematicians on the beach, that's exactly what they're doing. It's the same thing.
Write a story about it.
I'm going to.
I feel like you could drive this one into 20 articles.
I'm going to.
WSL's you know who doesn't like
racism?
You know who doesn't like passionate Brazilians?
Who?
Kelly Slater.
Yeah, he's over. He doesn't go.
He might get kidnapped.
Yeah, doesn't want him.
Can't go.
Nope.
Too passionate.
Doesn't need the passion.
Barrel or Nah. 4th of July themed Barrel or Nah. Block parties.
Oh, Barrel. I like a Halloween block party, and I also like a 4th of July block party. If I'm going to like something about 4th of July that doesn't involve fireworks, it's always funny to meet your neighbors for the first time every single year, have the same conversation, walk by their house the next day, and maybe if everyone's feeling charitable, wave, but otherwise talk to them at the next, hey.
I was going to say, how long does that obligatory wave and hello last?
Not even zero.
Yeah,
it doesn't last.
Don't hit the brakes.
No.
Don't even roll down if the window's down, you can put your arm out it, but don't roll down your window to wave.
Like you can do a hand on the steering wheel, 2 fingers up.
There you
go. Hand not even leaving the steering wheel.
Okay.
Like that. But somehow it feels good though. And you think when you're having that 4th of July block party, you think, my neighbors are great. I like my neighbors.
Yep.
But then somehow it doesn't feel like it's this big energy suck or anything like that.
Yeah.
But somehow the day after it ends, that's it.
Yeah. I like that it lands on a Monday this year too, because if that block party cut into my Sunday, I'd be pretty bummed about that. But the fact that it's on a Monday, I'm okay with that. It cuts into the work week. Rather be block partying than in an office. But I also do like, in general, the camaraderie. If you're going to live in an area, it is good to kind of have camaraderie, all be on the same page.
I mean, because you may need it sometimes. There may be a child molester coming around.
You should know that by looking at Megan's Law or something
exactly.
off their website.
And all the neighbors should be vigilant for each other's kids.
Yep.
House might burn down. You need a bunch of neighbors there with buckets of water.
Yep.
We
live in a cul-de-sac. You really follow unintentionally.
Yeah.
You track everyone's lives. And the conversations that we have in our house are all often, every day at least once, there's something about our neighbors. Just like, wow. Sometimes it's totally lame. Like, Kevin got soil.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, he got some soil today.
Yeah.
Because he pulled up and I saw him open the back of his truck and he had soil. So he must be doing a gardening project.
Yeah.
Another one.
Which is interesting enough to you to go tell
Lauren.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was seeing soil in the back of your neighbor's truck was enough. Like you walked in and told her.
Okay, here's another one I'm going to share because I'm pretty sure none of my neighbors will ever listen to this. We had a party, back in October, invited some of the neighbors over. And it's kind of the first time we'd met some of them. Got a vibe from one of the husbands and wives, like, man, they seem distant.
Oh.
So we developed this storyline in our own heads of them having a fractured marriage. Well, over the course of months,
divorced.
It seems to be. Of course, we're not having these conversations with them, so I don't know if the papers have been filed, but it's like we notice their comings and goings are separate all the time. And then a month ago, we notice him not being there as often. And then now it's like he hasn't spent the night at home for weeks now. And now we're heartbroken.
Yeah.
We're like, gosh, we don't want to see anybody get divorced. But the fact that we've had this storyline going in it's been a big part of our conversation, to be honest, daily. I'm like, was he home today?
Yeah.
What did he do? Oh, he only came home for 1 hour. Why? Oh, well, he left with mail. Oh, he just came by to get mail. Did he pack anything? Did he leave with a suitcase? Like,
cul-de-sac really is the best way to have where your cul-de-sac becomes a running Netflix show.
it is.
Yeah.
Totally is.
Because it doesn't really happen that same way on a street, right?
Definitely not.
Like, I see my neighbors who I see, but I'm not looking at all of them at the same time.
And they could just be passing through.
Exactly.
Nobody's just passing through here. If they do, we're checking our security cam footage. Why did they stay long? You know.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so barrel on block parties.
Barrel.
Okay, this is going to be one of the biggest travel days of ever since coronavirus has reopened the airports. So people are going to be traveling on airplanes. Barrel or nah, securing the armrest.
On the airplane?
Meaning that's a shared space.
Taking it.
Do you take it? Do you let them some space? Do you try to share it with the partner?
No sharing. Is this, okay, are you sitting next to your person? Stranger, yes. Okay, so hard rule. Listen up, listeners. The hard rule is the person in the middle gets both armrests.
Oof.
The person in the middle gets both armrests. They're living a crap life.
They're the sardine.
Yeah, they're living a bad life already. Give them that one little crumb.
And you've got the other one.
Precisely. You have a guaranteed dedicated armrest. And also you can lean away and the person next to the window can, sleep up against the wall or whatever. So do that little thing for your fellow man. Give the middle, if he or she wants.
So did you have this policy in place prior to me asking this question, or did you just invent it?
No, I've always thought this.
This is an excellent policy.
I get rage filled when I'm in the middle seat.
Of course.
I mean, I will just elbow people's off. I will demand that those armrests are mine.
It's an excellent policy, but it's indicative that you have a mindset that this is a shared space.
Yes.
And so we need to make accommodation for other people.
Sure.
A lot of travelers on airlines, especially if you're on Southwest or something, do not have that mindset.
It's the worst part.
They're going into it going, this is my flight. Maybe they don't travel that often. This is my flight. I've been waiting for this. This is my vacation. So I paid for this. This is mine.
Yep. Insane. It's the worst part of traveling in the United States, to be honest, is the idea of me, mine is very much more American than anywhere else I've ever been, of getting yours, looking out for number one, being in the way, like people who go real slow into the, take your computer out of your bag, the security check thing.
Yeah.
And just move slow, purposefully slow, right? Not thinking that, sure, they're on time with their flight, but wondering maybe there's somebody else in the back of the line there that is pushing it, right?
There is,
and so if I can speed up by 5 seconds, if I can work as quick as I can, that helps somebody else, right? Nobody thinks that. People who stand up stinking on the plane lands.
The worst.
Stand up.
Worst human beings of all time.
Slowly get their bags out, stand in the middle of the aisle and get it out and kind of recheck and repack a little bit. While somebody's behind you, may not be me, may not be the person next to me, somebody's back there is pushing a connection. Get off and then just this complete lack of thinking about everyone else is what sucks. So yes, if you're in the middle, you get both armrests. If you are window aisle, you give that armrest up. Think about your fellow man.
Great policy. I love this. We do a PSA.
Yep.
It's been once a week, it seems we're doing PSAs now.
It's a great
This
PSA.
is today's PSA.
Man, just when you're in the airport traveling, just think about somebody else for 1 second.
Totally. Completely. Love it.
Yeah.
Excellent advice for 4th of July. All right. How are you guys celebrating?
I'm not leaving, man. I'm so glad. Sometimes 4th of July sneaks up a bit on me. I'll find myself accidentally in LA or something and think, oh no, to get down to Island, North County, it's going to be 18 hours of traffic. So knowing full well it's on Monday, I know that this weekend is just going to be crammed. So I've taken to just riding my bike to the beach these days. Riding bike, can't surf yet. Ankle's almost back, but just jumping in and swimming. And so I will not get in a car this 4th of July or this whole weekend probably. I will ride my bike and swim.
Good for you.
Yep.
Good. You hear you know what FOMO is, obviously. I've seen a couple memes lately that are about JOMO. It's the joy of missing out.
Yes.
Where it's just like, leave me alone. I don't want to go to the party. Don't want to go to the crowded spot. Just, I love being at home to avoid all of that.
That's what's going to happen.
Total. All right, man. Well, hey, great to see you again in person.
You too.
Good luck. Anybody who wants to win this album, Free Wing.
I mean, how do they win it again?
Go to surfsplendorpodcast.com, click on support or subscribe, and it's $5 a month. You can cancel at any time. But each month that you are making that contribution, you are entered to win whatever it is we're giving away that month, and this month is a doozy.
Imagine also, without that support, Brandon Sneed would be your podcast host. That's how much insight you would get into the lives and travails of professional surfers.
Or we'd be begging the WSL for money or one of their supporters for money, and then we'd be working that narrative, part of the wall of positive noise, and instead we're able to be independent. Thanks to you, and thanks to athleticgreens.com/surf.
Thank you.
So, and next month, I've got a John Florence trade-in. He's written it. He signed it. Shaped by John Pizell, of course. So we've got that available next month too. So get in now.
Subscribe today.
And then get opportunity to win both. All right, Chaz. Until next week.
Bon Voyage.